This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Bruchim Habayim. We are continuing in the Sefer Orchos Chaim of the Rosh, and we are up to Kuf Chaf, number 120. Number 120. So we've really come a long way over here. We're up to page Kuf Chaf. Ois Kuf Chaf. Al targel atzmcha le'achol chutz mi beischa. Do not accustom yourself to eat outside of your house. Im kibbutz harbe, with a big gathering. Shaloi b'sudas mitzvah, unless it's a sudas mitzvah. Basically, don't go out to eat with a lot of people, unless it's a sudas mitzvah. So your friends are saying, "Oh, it's my 30th anniversary. I want to take out a few couples." Maybe that's not the best gathering to go to. Don't be accustomed to doing that. But it sounds like once in a while, okay, it's not a big idea. In other words, don't have Thursday night a couples night. And what's interesting is the Rosh already sort of discussed this, because the Rosh in Sif Katan Yud Zayin he said, "Shelo yisoid b'sudas harishus." Don't eat at a meal that's a sudas rishus. So why is the Rosh repeating this? Maybe one would say, there it's talking about a meal. So if it's a meal, don't eat at a meal that's rishus. Here it's talking about even eating anything. It's not a meal. You're eating. And you're having popcorn, you're having oranges, but don't accustom yourself to doing that with a group of people if it's not a sudas mitzvah. However, Rav Goldberg says that the source of this halacha is a Gemara Psachim on Daf Memtes. It says any suda which is not a sudas mitzvah, a Talmud Chacham is not allowed to get hana from it. And there we find further, so that's one teaching of the Gemara. A suda that's not a sudas mitzvah, Talmud Chacham should not be nene from. But we find over there further, any Talmud Chacham that's marbe sudasai b'chol makom, he destroys his house, and he causes his wife to be a widow, and he causes his children to be a yasaim, and he'll forget his learning. And many machlokes will come to him, and his words will not be listened to, and he's mechal Hashem shamayim, and the name of his Rabbi and the name of his father, and he causes a bad name for his Rabbi, his father, and himself, and his children at soif kal hadoros. So that sounds like pretty bad news. So it's interesting, the Gemara started off, any suda that's not a sudas mitzvah, a Talmud Chacham is not allowed to benefit from. And then the Gemara really lays it on, and it says that a Talmud Chacham that's marbe sudasa b'chol makom is machrav as beisai. So from here we see that there are two different dinim. One is you should not be nene from a sudas rishus. That implies even one time. So, and that would be the din of Sifkat and Yud Zayin in the Rosh. But then there's another din that don't do it frequently. If you do it frequently, there's a very severe oynesh. Now, it's hard to say this. Why wouldn't the Rosh tell us about the repercussions of doing it if here we're talking about where it's frequently, and this is what the Gemara is referring to, of Kol Talmud Chacham Hamar B'Sudasa B'Chol Makom. But nevertheless, from here we learn out that the proper place to eat, the most appropriate place to eat, is in your home. To go out and eat with other people, it should only be done with us if it's a sudas mitzvah. Ois Kuf Chaf Aleph. Al tishaker gufcha lehishtaker miyayin. Do not make your body drunk to become drunk with wine. Pen tia meguna, lest you become disgraced. The tigbal es picha utinavel es picha, and you will speak divrei nevala v'tizchared, and you will regret it. Now, what does the Rosh mean? Do not make your body drunk. Interestingly, the Medrash Tanchuma on Parsha Shmini says, Amar Rabbi Yehuda Halevi b'Rabbi Shalom. In Hebrew, it's called yayin. In Aramaic, it's called chomer. Chomer is gematria 248. Keneged a person's limbs. Yayin enters every single limb of a person. It weakens the body and it causes the das to be shaken up. A person allows wine to enter and das leaves. As we know, yayin enters and soid, which is reason and rationale, leaves the body. So Rav Goldberg says the reason why the Rosh says al teshaker gufcha is because the wine actually enters a person's body itself. Now Rav Goldberg cites a Gemara in the Medrash Tanchuma that when Noach came out of the Teva and he planted a vineyard, the Satan stood before him. He said, "What are you doing?" He said, "I'm planting a vineyard." He said, "What's a vineyard?" Noach said, very sweet fruits, whether they're moist, whether they're dry, you can make wine, and wine makes the heart gladden, like it says, V'yayin nisamach levav enosh. The Satan said, okay, let's be partners over here. So Noach said, okay, great idea. What did the Satan do? The Satan brought a lamb. He killed the lamb under the vine. Then he brought a lion. He killed the lion there. Then he brought a pig. He killed the pig there. Then he brought a monkey, and he killed the monkey there. And their blood dripped into that vineyard, and he gave Adam to drink from their blood. What he was telling Noach is before a person drinks wine, he's innocent like a lamb. You drink properly, you become strong like a lion. When you drink more, you become filthy and disgusting like a pig. You become drunk, you turn into a monkey. And your mouth emits despicable things. So it's very interesting, says Rav Goldberg, from this Medrash Tanchuma, it's mashma that the concept that wine making somebody drunk in a despicable way only happened after the Mabul. It only happened after the Mabul. By the way, it's very interesting, we pointed out recently, according to the opinion that the Eitz Hadas was a grape, which, by the way, Rav Meir is of that opinion, and Rav Goldberg even asked, because this medrash is mashma, that the concept that wine causes a person to lose their das and to act in a despicable manner, that came about after the sin of the Eitz Hadas, in the times after the Mabul, when the Satan came to be maraked and to mess around with the ayin. That implies that originally, had Noach not become drunk, the wine would not have had this capacity. But it's interesting that originally the Eitz Hadas was yayin. Noach took a misstep with yayin. Lot was intoxicated by yayin. The Meraglim, they had their downfall by showing the grape, the eshkoil, and then Hashem gave the tikkun, which is the nesachim. But Rav Goldberg says it's mashma that only after the Mabul, when the Satan got mixed into the netiyos that Noach planted, that's what gave the koyach of yayin to cloud Noach's das. However, Rav Goldberg asks that why would Rav Meir say that Eitz Hadas was yayin if at that point in time yayin did not have that capacity? But that's a ha'ara of Rav Goldberg. And here it says, do not let your body become drunk, because you will become disgusting, and ultimately you will say something that you regret. And this obviously follows Ois Kuf Chaf, which is don't accustom yourself to eat outside of the house with a lot of people, because that naturally leads to often to loose behavior, and that could lead to Ois Kuf Chaf Aleph, which is excessive intoxication. And I would say that Ois Kuf Chaf follows Ois Kuf Yotes, because in Ois Kuf Yotes it says, don't refuse the people of your city, bow to the desire of the many. So you say, okay, but now they're asking me to go out to eat with them, so maybe I should bow to them. So here it's saying, no, don't train yourself to eat outside of your house with a gathering of a lot of people, even though we just said you should be mavato ritzoincha mibnei ritzoin acherim. Okay, Rabbi Isai, that will be the for this week. Be'ezus Hashem, we are actually almost finished the 6th day. We only have a few more pages. And then we have the day of Shabbos over here in the Orchos and the Rosh, which is about 23 oisiyos. So we're inching our way toward finishing the Sefer. So wishing everybody a wonderful day. Bracha v'atzlacha, kol tov.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, sure.
So, did Rabbi Goldberg have an answer to the Eitz Hadas?
Yeah, good question. So he says, either the opinion of the Medrash Tanchuma holds like the other Tanoim, that in fact the Eitz Hadas was a different species, a chita or a te'ena, or he says it's more likely that if ultimately wine brought curse to the world, throughout history, it's mistaber, it's logical that it had some capacity for evil all the way back then. But it didn't intoxicate until the Satan came after the Mabel. That's what he says.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, Kol Tov. Have a good day.
Bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.